I don't know if there is a normal journey or process when it comes to finding like your spirituality and your religion, but I know that my journey with Christianity has definitely been kind of outside of what I've heard from other people's experiences. I didn't grow up in a church at all. And I think my first like real brush with Christianity was my dad's like girlfriend growing up, which she was awful. So that there's been a lot, okay? And so I took like 2 years of just getting to know Jesus before I actually did get baptized. So I wanted to go into all the reasons why I didn't get baptized for so long and why I didn't get baptized in certain churches. And the reason that I feel called to make this video is because before I got baptized, I really had to wrestle with this question, which is this true? Do I believe in this? And where I came to on the spectrum was that I didn't have to believe 100% that something was true or be 100% sure of something in order to commit to it. I started to look at it instead as a scale, like which is 0% is this is absolutely not true. Everything in here is a lie. And over here was this is 100% true. There is nothing that could ever make me doubt that this is 100% true. And instead of having to look at it so much as a binary decision, I looked at it as a sliding scale. But I want to, even within that process, even when I came to that realization, there was still probably another year or two before I got baptized. It was like 2 or 3 years that I was going to church before I really decided to make the decision to get baptized in a church where I was in a TJ Maxx and I thought that it was time. So this video, I know that within Christianity there are so many different branches, so many schools of thoughts. At the end of the day though, um, just even like falling under the the umbrella that is like Christianity, that is Jesus, I believe it's been something so positive in my life. So I wanted to make this video for the person who is unsure of getting baptized, not to convince you, but to walk through the same questions that I had and let you decide whether it is something for you because um maybe it's not. Maybe you're not ready. Maybe you're going to take a few more years. And something that was really difficult for me in my journey to actually coming to the point where I got baptized at 26 was that I felt a lot of pressure to get baptized. It was always like, why aren't you getting baptized? Like, or we need to get some water on you, So if you're dealing with that pressure within the church, I wanted to make this video for you just to walk you through what I was thinking and just to say that I understand. I understand why it might not be the right choice for you right now, and the Lord will put it in your heart if it is the right choice for you and if you are called. So it's a little bit of a removal of pressure. This is a very honest video. I'm honestly a little bit scared to make it. That's why I'm dancing around a little bit, but let's just go through. So the first question that I again asked myself was like on a binary scale, like, is this not true or is this definitely true? And I kind of got baptized. I was standing again like in a TJ Maxx and I just all of a sudden I felt ready. I felt ready to get baptized. I felt like I was in the place where I was like, I feel good to commit to this. And I had gone to a bunch of different churches before. I like to say I tried like the Costco sampler of churches, like you name a branch, I've been in their church. That's definitely not true. There are like hundreds of branches of Christianity, but for the most part, like the major ones I had been to, like I lived in London, so there were so many churches there that I got to try. And the one that I ended up in for a few years was I went to the LDS church a lot, like the Mormon church. They don't call themselves that anymore. They call themselves the LDS church. And that was so good for me in terms of getting into like a good Christian community. I felt so safe in that community. For some reason, for me, I was never able to like get baptized. Not that I wasn't able to, like they really wanted me to, and there was a part of me that wanted to because they wanted me to, right? I even gave up like the alcohol, caffeine, like all that sort of stuff. Like that was not a huge issue for me, and I had no trouble like sticking to the stuff. And I feel like all of my LDS friends like love them so much. Like people just really accepted me as one of their own. I even paid tithing. Like that's something that I had trouble getting over. I still have trouble paying tithing sometimes, just gonna be totally honest with that. In this video, I do try to give generously, but at the time, like I was paying tithing to the church. Um, it was it was like I had no problem like sticking to the script. For some reason my heart wasn't in it. And then I found out some stuff about the history of the church, which I guess was kind of what my particular spirit was feeling, where I just couldn't fully accept that. And so then I took like a break from church for like a whole summer. Like I honestly felt a little bit heartbroken, like just truly honestly sharing my whole experience. Like I really don't want to like harp on the LDS church because they've been so good to me. There's been other times since then where like there's been a period where I really didn't have money for housing and I was in a really bad spot. And the church still then, because I knew so many members in the church, like they took me in and I didn't have to pay for my housing and they helped me get food. Okay, so this is a very good church. Like they really take care of their people, and I I really have so much respect for this church, so much love for this church, and I know that the church has love and respect for me. But I'm just saying, like, honestly, why I haven't gotten baptized, I've talked to other members about that. And the funniest thing is, I know that the LDS people watching this, like, you are so respectful and understanding that you're just probably looking at me like going like, I understand. And, people have to make their own peace with the church. For me, I will share that the thing that held me back was that like the multiple wives of the person who's supposed to be the prophet of the church and the age of some of them. Um, that to me just I can't get past it. Or I guess I'm choosing not to get past it, but that was for me what like kind of like broke my heart. And I just took a break, and then I moved down to South Carolina for a job. And then I met this lady at a networking event named Kara Dowers. So she's actually one of my clients now. Like I'm one of her clients. Like I do my life insurance through her. She's like a financial advisor, but that was like way down the line. So I I actually went on a date with a guy who was he was like Presbyterian. Yes. And so he was like, I was talking about my faith, and then he's like, when's the last time you've been to church? I was like, haven't gone for a while. And so I was like, I need to go. And but like I didn't really want to go to that church because obviously I'd been on this date with this guy, and then I just felt like I was like a fraud, a failure, whatever it is. Like this is like part of my spiritual journey too, where I've had to learn that like God loves me no matter where I live up to. But at the time, it's like I probably should be going to church. I say that I haven't gone to church for a little bit now, but that's okay. I've been watching it at home, which is just the season that I'm in, and I'm more accepting of myself now. But um, at the time, I think going to church was really good for me. So that week, I went to a networking event, and I met this lady named Kara, and she took me like to an Anglican church. I don't know why I couldn't remember the name. Anglican church, and it was like mostly like a church filled with older people. Anglican is like a like it's like an old English church. It's kind of close to Catholicism, but I was going to that church for a little bit. I was dating my now husband, and at some point when we were dating, one sec, I don't know what it is. Sometimes I get like a little bit in the morning, but I was dating my now husband, and sometime in the point that we were dating, I decided I was ready to get baptized. And I didn't feel like they wanted me to get baptized. People in a church will always want you to get baptized, but I felt ready. And so I made the decision to get baptized in that church in December of like not last year, but the year before. So I've really only been baptized for like a year and 6 months officially. So that was how I made my decision. And I just felt ready, but there are a lot of questions that I wrestled with, even now, like with Christianity, but like now I feel like after baptism, like I am committed to it. But the questions that I would ask myself was like very practical questions. I didn't want to make this decision just based on like emotion. Like I didn't want to make this decision just because like I felt lonely or anything like that. I think Jesus does fix those problems, but it doesn't happen overnight. And so I really had to go through the process of what is this going to be like, because I took this commitment pretty seriously, right? Like I grew up in a family where we didn't practice any sort of faith. So both of my parents, they have like they're fine with me being Christian, but they also don't really agree with it, and so they were very resistant when I was going to the LDS church, less so resistant with the other churches. But um it was a big decision for me because it wasn't something that my family was behind. Um which I I don't know if a lot of other people go through that. I haven't obviously, like, some people like have families who are like really really against it, but just like even a family who's kind of okay with it, like my parents have always supported me. They're so loving, like they're really really great. um Even with them being like as supportive as they are as people, I still had a big hesitation about jumping into this commitment, which is hilarious if you knew that I got married in 4 months. That's hilarious, but that's a side note. Uh, when I did make that commitment, again, the questions that I asked myself were pretty logical. So one of the questions that I asked myself was, does this make my life better or worse, right? And so I think that there are going to be points in any Christian's life where you are like persecuted for your faith, right? That's like a promise that's in the Bible. I really wanted to get to know the promises in the Bible um, pretty well, right? And then I also looked at a lot of neuroscience stuff as well. I'm really into like biology, and like Dr. K is really good about talking about like religion's role in our like biological health. And so a lot of the things in Christianity practically lined up for what leads to better like chemical levels in a human life, right? Like there's like the social element, like social support element sort of thing. Prayer is so good. Like prayer is like meditation, you know? These things are really good for the human brain. So how do I get myself into a community where these things are built in? A really big thing for me, just to be honest as well, with getting into religion was like I did not want to have sex before marriage. That's been a big thing for me. That was a big thing for me before I even really knew Christ. Like I did sleep with like my first boyfriend. Like this is really, like, I'm being very honest in this video. And I had some experiences early on that just made me want to protect that part of myself, knowing how I am as a woman, right? But it seemed like I had a tough problem because I was insecure, right? Just saying that without really having a reason to back it, without just being to say, like, I don't want to have sex before marriage because I don't want to. I don't want to have sex before like safety and commitment, right? Especially in today's like economy. Like that was very hard for me. So God really gave me a reason as well to protect that part of myself. Um, and now I really see his plan and his vision for that. And I know why I felt the way that I personally felt. But at the time, that was a big reason for me for wanting to be in a religion in the first place, because it was like a long stage. Like I've looked into a lot of religions, like I haven't really considered Buddhism very much, but I definitely considered Islam. Like I really did. I was dating an Islam guy. That was not for me, but it was, why did I say Islam guy? Muslim guy. It's so early in the morning. I'm so sorry. But but yeah, these were like some of the things that led me personally to want to be in a religion, and then to choose Christianity as a religion. I'm being totally honest as well. Like I mentioned some of the stuff about my family. I wanted to be, I do think that there was an element of like when my parents like really were unhappy with certain religions, like I do think that that added to it, even subconsciously. Like I would still explore it, but definitely that was something in my head where I wanted to um, probably subconsciously please my parents, and also being really honest about that, because I think there is truth in that, even if I still pursued those things and I was curious about them and I really let it play out and made sure the decision was for me. Definitely the fact that my parents like are accepting of me practicing religion, and definitely more my mom than my dad as well. Like my dad's like not really accepting of any religion, but he like didn't really care. He's equally not cared about each one. Like Islam, don't care, she's doing what she's doing. um Looking into the Mormon community, don't care, she's doing what she's doing. Getting baptized in the Anglican church, don't care, doing what she's doing. But my mom, on the other hand, like she had a much stronger reaction towards like Islam and the LDS community. Anglican, she just didn't really care. Like she grew up Catholic, so that was more familiar to her. So I know that that played a part in my decision as well. Um, Another question that I like to ask myself now when I make decisions that I think really would have informed things in my life back then, that if you're thinking about making this decision, I would ask yourself is like, does this decision to get baptized to follow Christ make you respect yourself more or less, which is just to say, like, with any decision I make, I like to ask myself, does this decision make me respect myself more or less? And you know what, your values might evolve and change the more you mature. I think that's like just a really important part of growing up. But for example, like me getting married within 4 months, like I know why I did that, right? And that decision, no matter what happens within the marriage, that decision made me respect myself more because I promised myself that I would not have sex before marriage again. I promised myself I wouldn't do it again. And so sticking to that, even if I didn't do it perfectly, even if I rushed things, I have a very strong foundation for why I made that decision. It was rooted in my values. It was rooted in self-protection. Even if things went wrong, I can concretely say that that decision made me respect myself more, even if I would do things differently now, having more information than I have. Don't get married in 4 months, by the way. I'm really not advocating for that. I'm just saying, like, when you make decisions and you're young, you're going to do the best that you know how to at the time. And as long as you can really think about why you're making the decision and look back at it, it's going to give you a better source of reflection. Or at least it gave me a better source of reflection. Um, but yeah, just like that was a big thing. Like, I think Christianity really did give me, Jesus in general just helped give me more self-respect. And it came from that source, right? Like, because I knew I was making this decision for me. I knew it was in line with what I truly wanted. And over time, too, like this, I don't want to say that this happened before baptism because I actually think it happened after, was like I've become a lot more secure in myself. And so this is like kind of like a post testimony thing, like where I've gained so much self respect just learning who I am through Jesus, through making mistakes, through not being afraid to be imperfect, through just like his love for me. Because I know that there's like saying that, you know, you don't want to use Jesus for an insurance policy, but I think I was the opposite. I was like so worried about disappointing him that I was very, very hard on myself. But through like my prayer, through my journey, through the things that he's put me through just making mistakes and being okay with that, he has really taught me that he loves me anyways. I'm literally gonna cry. And that's been really big for me in terms of my self-respect, because I know that he loves me no matter what, and that I don't have to be perfect, and that if I'm trying my best, like there's just something in that like clearly this is like, it is also an emotional decision. It's not just a logical decision, but you can feel the truth in certain things, and that was a big truth for me that I've come to find like after getting baptized, and I started to feel the fruits of before. I think I'm also just so much more emotionally regulated. So another question I would ask myself if I was getting baptized again was, does this improve my life? Like, in terms of the things that really matter to me, like, is my life getting better? Because I know there's like the prosperity gospel, right? That is false. Like, we don't want to just believe that like because we're Christian we're going to get rich. But I think there are promises in the gospel, right? I mean, I know there are promises in the gospels where if we believe that we already possess these things, that they will be given to us, and that if we pursue the Lord, they will be given to us. So we're not, I mean, there are places where, you know, you're being persecuted as a Christian, like your head's being chopped off, all this sort of stuff. And that's, it's so sad. And that's the reality of those countries. And I think there's something really beautiful about believing in something so much that you would die for it. I'm going to be so honest, like where I am in my faith journey right now, I don't know if I'm at the point where I would die for my faith. And that's something to consider too. It's easier to be Christian here. I wouldn't know unless I was in that situation, but you don't have to deal with that as much here. Just being like, I keep on saying I'm being so honest, like with my thoughts and what I think. But this is just where I'm at. But I still felt like there was enough there for me to get baptized and to follow Jesus. And I believe that like with prayer and fasting and just following him, that I will get to where I need to be. And I have a lot of trust in that. But yeah, look at your life and think about the things that are holding you back. Does Jesus help release you from those chains? And for me, he did. Like, I suffered from, not suffered, like, I had an eating disorder for like 10 years or so. I really feel like through Jesus, those things got a lot better. And like, I'm naturally at like a thinner weight than I was before my eating disorder. Like, obviously, not when I was like really controlling, but like on the whole, I'm like a good weight and I feel happy with it. And I don't have to try very hard. Like, all of a sudden with Jesus, I don't have to try that hard. I just have to work on myself. And that's been really great for me. But like, ask yourself, with your dreams, with your goals, does Jesus help you achieve them through just following his principles? Because the thing that I found about sin is that sin isn't really like for Jesus to control us. It's more for us to avoid, like, I think of it as a game of like snakes and ladders. Like, I don't want to fall down a snake, right? Like, to just like have to start all over again. So sticking with the lessons in the Bible, I just see it as I'm steadily making progress versus like having to like shoot up so many ladders. Like, I think sometimes God does give you a ladder, but like really what I want to make is meaningful progress, and I just like to avoid sin because it's like I don't want to fall down and have to start all over again, which sometimes that happens too. And I think that God also redeems those things. Like, God is the ladder, but if you try to climb up another way, then you just fall down a snake again. So there's no point. A little bit of a metaphor there, but if Jesus is helping you avoid snakes in the game that is life, like, just stop falling down things, like that was a big thing for me, where Jesus helped me have like more boundaries, keep more of the wrong things out of my life. And I'm still working on that. That's still something that we're working on together. But that was big for me. So it's like, does Jesus fix the things in your life that need to be fixed? And for me, the answer was yes. So this is like literally just me talking honestly about my experience. I've said that so many times in this video. Like, you could leave in the comments being like, is she talking honestly about her experience? Like, I'm afraid to make this video though, honestly. But this is what led me to finally getting baptized. Like, these questions, just answers for me, changed to like, I feel ready. I feel confident to do that. And I don't even know if ready is necessarily a feeling. For me, it was like, I just all of a sudden felt comfort and ease in choosing this path, whereas before there was still some internal resistance. And I think I did remove a lot of that resistance through prayer. Like, I had been praying to believe more or to feel more comfort in my decision for a while, and then all of a sudden it came. I'm not saying that's necessarily going to happen for you, but for me it did. So yeah, that's a little bit about my decision. If you have any questions, comments, like, I'll read them. Be mean if you want to. It's the internet. I'll see you next time.